Hi, I'm Cynthia Murphy.
And I am Georgia Bowers.
And this is...
Hi. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry. All right, Melissa.
We're with the very excited Melissa Welliver today.
I know, I'm sorry. I have tried to warn everybody that ever podcasts with me that I'm absolute chaos. So hi everyone, here I am to ruin the podcast. Hello.
And sorry, I keep going to call you Melliver. I keep trying to call you Melliver. I'm sorry, Melissa.
Oh, I like it.
Melissa has already sent us her 3 facts about herself, one of which is not true. So Cynthia is going to read those out for us today.
No, I'm not. Melissa's going to read them out.
Melliver's going to read them out for you today.
This is great. I love it. I love it already. This is awesome. I've already brought complete chaos to your podcast. I'm really proud of myself. Okay, yeah, I'm going to read them today. I'm going to read my 3 facts about myself. So yes, I'm Melissa Welliver, author of the Undying trilogy, and I have 3, well, not 3 facts, 2 are facts, and 1 is a lie. Maybe they are all just facts or all lies. You know, that's for you to decide. Okay, I'll read them out. Right. So number 1, drag queens saved my life on 2 separate occasions. Number 2, I live next door to ex-MP and author of Erotica, Edwina Currie. Oh, number 3, I used to write Werewolf Coronation Street crossover fan fiction under the name Daniel Osborne. Now, I do have an explanation actually for all of these. So if you want them as extra information.
Tell us at the end when we've revealed which one is true. And which
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah. Daniel, under the name of Daniel Osborne, is that Buffy? Is that because of Oz? He was Daniel Osborne, wasn't he?
He was, and there's a Daniel Osborne in Corrie. It's Ken's secret son.
Oh, weird. What a weird...
See, that is a weird fact, but I can see that being plausible. I
think I know which one. I think I know which one is false.
Because I believe the drag queen one, because I think you've already proved chaotic individual that you are. That's probably happened, that you've had to have your life saved.
And drag queens are excellent people. Did you say
it's been saved twice by a drag queen?
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder whether that's the lie.
And it's only once. Yeah. Or it's 3 times.
Yeah.
I think so. The second one, I remember you talking about Edwina Currie, but I can't remember if she lives next door or not. So I don't know if that's like a sneaky, I don't know if she just lives nearby and the next door bit is the lie.
Yeah, these are really subtle little sneaky ones, aren't they?
I think the fan fiction one is fake.
I'm going to say the same.
Okay. Well, I can reveal.
We'll find out later.
Oh, tell us at the end, because then people have to listen.
Oh, I like that even better. Okay, yes, people have to listen to the end. Yeah, just listen to how much more I mess up the podcast, everyone. Everyone's so excited to hear how much more I interrupt you guys. Okay, yeah, sorry, let's go. Yes, at the end. Ready.
Right, so what are you going to tell us about today?
Well, yes, I was thinking about what to talk about. I'm sure you've had this from everyone, but it's there's so many stupid things that you Google, aren't there? And I actually did go through my search history having a little look. I was like, oh, when was I drafting that? Like last year. So like on Google, you can go through and shit like what months.
Oh,
that's terrifying. Scary. If anybody doesn't know that, that's what you can do. So you might want to clear it. And the thing I decided to talk about is, I'm just going to move this to the side. I've got some notes on my computer because, as I was saying before we started to Cynthia and Georgia, I find that when you write stuff, I'm not writing a documentary, I'm writing a novel. So I find something really interesting that's a real story and then completely go off on one because I find it so fascinating and think, imagine this, but with werewolves or something, and just go off. And then I realize which bit was actually real. This is my problem with my 2 truths and a lie. Everyone's thinking now, like, does she even know? And no, I don't. I have no idea because my brain just goes off and makes stuff up. So I decided to talk about the Undying Tower and how I came up with the immortal people. So for anyone that's not read it, the Undying Tower is about a girl who lives in a society where 5% of people don't age past the age of 25 and the other 95% enslave those people. So immortality is a bad thing. Everyone knows about it, but it's considered sort of evil and demonic and that's essentially the story. So where I actually came up with it was I was looking up sort of ways that you could live forever. So I was thinking about immortality anyway, and I'd only ever really thought about cryogenic freezing and or maybe downloading yourself into a robot, not to go too much into Ross from Friends and show my age. However, I actually found this thing online called the Immortal Jellyfish. So the Immortal Jellyfish.
I was just going to say, I don't think I've ever considered any of those things ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's totally normal. Yeah. So, you know, when you're considering this, everyone's like, no. No,
just you.
Just me. Yeah. Well, I think I started thinking about immortality. I had a friend that passed away from cancer, and I became really obsessed with looking into various things. And it's the sort of thing we used to talk about before she died. And I think that was part of it as well. So I definitely started to look at, like, yeah, if you could download your brain into a robot, or if you can cryogenically freeze. Or I think I found some stuff about people cryogenically freezing just their brains. Which is just mental, obviously, after they've died, unless there's a way to do it when you're alive. There's another book. But I found this Immortal Jellyfish. So essentially I was looking for animals that live for a long time, and I was looking at turtles and some species of whale, and I found this jellyfish. I cannot pronounce the Latin name, but if you Google Immortal Jellyfish, you can find it. And I'm just looking at his little Wikipedia here, which is the Latin name, also known as the immortal jellyfish, is a species of small biologically immortal jellyfish found worldwide in temperate tropical waters. It is one of the few known cases of animals capable of reverting completely to a sexually immature colonial stage after having reached sexual maturity. So essentially, it's like a phoenix. So it's not necessarily, yeah, it goes back, but it retains, they think, it's hard to tell, it's a jellyfish, memory. So it doesn't necessarily live forever as much as it makes itself young again, and then gets older. So it's
like if you hit the menopause, you could go back to like your first period.
Yeah. Who would choose this? Any of these things?
Well, no. However,
but
having been in medically induced menopause, yeah, I think I probably would.
Oh no.
Grim.
Of all the things to these are the decisions we have to make when we are writing. But yeah, so it was very interesting. So I became kind of obsessed with how the cells reproduce, and essentially it's one of those typical things. They live in quite deep waters, and scientists don't know exactly how they do it. So I was then looking up, well, at what age could my characters potentially, so obviously they go from so essentially sort of a postmenopausal back to sexually immature, so slightly before, I guess, the jellyfish start their jellyfish periods. Gross. And essentially yeah, I was thinking, well, what age could I do for my characters? So I found another piece of research that says something like we start to break down in terms of collagen, DNA strands starting to shorten. That all starts around 25. I know, grim. Apart from if you share, obviously, then it never starts. And it's just 77 and looks amazing all the time. So yeah, so that's pretty much where I started looking into it. And then it just started, this whole world just sprang from that. But it definitely started with the immortal jellyfish, and I always remember it. And it's one of those things that, yeah, like you were saying, oh no, I've never thought about this, because I looked into it so vividly. I just thought it was like something lots of people maybe knew about, and I bring it up and they're like, no, I don't know what this is, Melissa. Why are you telling us about this gross jellyfish? So
I had never heard of it. I've heard of is there like, are there lobsters that, is it a lobster? There's some kind of sea creature, and basically if it doesn't get killed, it will just carry on. So it doesn't die naturally. I might be making this completely up, but it won't die naturally. But if something killed it, it would die. So I'm sure it's lobsters, and there's some that are like hundreds of years old.
Oh my gosh. That would work really well actually in the book. Maybe I should have picked that lobster. See, I should have been talking to Cynthia about this, and she would have been like, so there's this lobster.
I may have dreamed it. It might not be real.
I don't think anyone's here to actually learn, because, you know, disclaimer, I am having to double check the Wikipedia, guys, because I'm not sure how much of this I made up after reading it. And I did not go on it, sadly. Well, this is the other thing, isn't it? I suppose, because I wrote this way before lockdown, but thinking about stuff, especially researching during lockdown, this is all just internet research. I did not go like on this amazing trip to wherever this jellyfish resides and go on an amazing diving expedition. This was just online research.
Yeah.
So take it with a pinch of salt.
Not too much salt, because that will shrivel the jellyfish.
Yeah, probably. Actually, that's another thing. I do not know enough about this jellyfish. This is the issue. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Because most of my research, actually, I thought this was the nicest piece of research to pick, because most of my research is usually, I write a lot of dystopian and post-apocalyptic. So it's usually, how long could dogs last if there was a nuclear apocalypse? Yeah.
Oh.
Like, could my person have a dog companion? Would a dog with 6 legs still be able to walk correctly?
Somebody on our Instagram, I put up a story saying, what's one of the weirdest things you've ever researched? And somebody said, how long could an animal be skinned for and still walk around and be alive? I was like, oh my God. No.
That's such a good one. Oh my gosh. It's like I went to Chernobyl on a trip. It wasn't a research trip, but it did end up feeding into the book. Yeah, Cash. I went with my dad. Father's Day. My poor dad, on 62 years old he was at the time. I think it was that's right. It's crawling through radioactive waste in the middle of Chernobyl. And yeah, we saw it. We saw a 6-legged dog there, carcass of a 6-legged dog. And the tour guide was like, come up to 9th floor. I have great surprise for you. It will be great surprise, worth the walk. And we're like walking up all these floors, like, what is this? We get up to the top. She's like, surprise. And I was like, this isn't ice cream. This is a 6-legged dog. But loads of stuff came from that, actually, for the story. So like, it's not stuff to do with 6-legged dogs, but stuff to do with like radioactive waste and how you can live somewhere after a big war's happen, which happens in the book. And how things regrow, because it was amazing to see how much regrowth there'd been. So actually, I guess it's kind of depressing in some ways, but then other things I'm like, wow, stuff can actually keep alive during these things. Maybe that's why I write it. Maybe I'm just weird. I don't know. Anyway.
I always think dystopian's quite hopeful in the end, isn't it? Anything dystopian, there's always like a hope of rebuilding community and stuff. So it is funny.
I think you've got to.
Yeah.
Laugh a minute. No, I do try and put some comedy in, to be fair. I can't help myself, but
I can't imagine you writing something without comedy, to be honest.
I can't. I just couldn't. I don't know. I've always found it quite fascinating looking up. Like, I'm a bit of a like, I have a go bag, bug out bag, like, just in case there's a disaster. My dad used to live in California when he was younger, and he grew up in LA, and so he would always, I remember when he went to uni, he sent me with a torch and a little pack of matches and all this stuff, and he said he called it my earthquake box, and I was like, I'm going to Leeds. Like, I'm not it's not going to be that dramatic, but I think I've just always been really obsessed with like how things might end, which again, sounds depressing, but also just the thought of going into a world where you don't have to worry about bills and like the fact you didn't do your homework, and I haven't finished any of my edits. Oh well, never mind, everyone's gone, so everyone's been raptured, so no one's waiting for my edits. Yay, I can just do what I want.
Don't you think? No, sorry.
This is ridiculous.
No, I was just going to say.
This is ridiculous.
This is great.
Go on, Georgia, you go first.
No, I was just going to say, when you hear about these people who, did you call it a go bag? Is that like people would know what that is? So when like Louis Theroux goes and interviews these people who are convinced that something's going to happen, so they have an underground bunker and all that, and you sort of think, oh, weirdos. And then then you have a pandemic, and you think, actually, anything could happen. And then the idea of having, like, I know it's not the same thing, but the idea of having like a stock of stuff that you can live on, and so that you don't have to leave the house and all of that, is actually probably quite a sensible idea. And I mean, I know I wasn't the only one who, when the whole pandemic started, was thinking zombie apocalypse. It was
I had to stop watching The Walking Dead, because I would go and walk the dog, and I would just, my brain would go into overdrive, like, what if there's a zombie in the woods? So, because it got really eerie for a while, didn't it? Like,
it did.
Right at the start, it was very I remember going out and not seeing aeroplanes and not really hearing traffic, because people were at home, and like, you could hear, it felt like nature took over a little bit more, and while that was nice, it was quite scary.
And So, Melissa, what is in your go bag?
So in the go bag, so I'm saving up. I'd really like to. Everyone, they're about 70 to 130 pounds on various websites. But they you can get a whole go bag that is completely packed, and that's what I would like to have. But I can't afford one of those because that's a lot of money for me to spend when like I've got to like eat and pay rent. So
you've got to live until you need the go bag.
Yeah, I know. I need to stay alive to
Yeah.
the apocalypse so that I can use my go bag. So in the go bag is like a torch, spare batteries, a rechargeable battery pack, iodine tablets. You've got, what else have I got in there? Oh, and one of those blankets that are made of like tinfoil. They're not made of tinfoil. I can't remember what they're called now. And it's all folded up because like if I ever unfold it, that's not going back in, is it? It's like a foldable map. That's just not happening. A spare phone. Oh yeah, I've got loads of stuff in the go bag. Some matches. I don't have any food rations. What they called MAFs or something, which is like it's like when it's like a food package that all you have to do is add water. That's what I really want from the go bag online. I'm like really into it.
Freeze dried
Yeah,
astronaut food.
Astronaut food. Yeah, let's call it. That sounds more interesting, doesn't it? Then
And what sort of phone is it? Is it like a Nokia 3310? Because they are like,
yeah, because they'll never ever
that would
run
last
out.
forever.
It's an old phone, so I think it's actually just one of my old smartphones because I could still use, because if you've got maps, is another thing I have an app on my phone where the maps are always downloaded, so you don't need signal to use them because sat nav technology in a phone or anything else can be used without internet. So if you have, as long as you have the map actually downloaded and at the right render distance comparison to you, then you can actually use a digital map on a phone. Yeah, so there's just all sorts. So this is just my obsession. So first of all, I have to look up how the world will end, and then I have to prepare for all the ways, and then so that I don't go completely insane, I make up a story about it and write it down. That's my life.
And that's how Melissa got published.
Just losing my mind a tiny bit at a time and just keeping sane enough.
What can you tell us? Can you tell us a way that the world is going to end that we might not have thought of, that we wouldn't be aware of? Like, we know all the big ones.
Yeah. So I remember when I talked to my dad about this a lot. And I always used to say, I think we'll get to star death in 5 billion years. And my dad would say, no, I think it'll be grey matter death, which is where everything around us, it's to do with various different pressures in the universe. And essentially we all start to decompose into grey matter very slowly. And it's incredibly painful and horrible. But actually, my favorite at the minute is just Boris Johnson. I don't know how, but he'll have a way. I know he does. A way that won't be in my go bag. And I'll be like, oh no. Looking in my go bag, waiting to see. Oh God, I wasn't prepared for this. So, yeah, that's probably mine. Hadron Collider. I was worried when they were turning that on. I remember. It's like, what's the worst that can happen? And my dad would say, well, let me tell. My dad was a scientist, but I was like, let me tell you. Okay, so here's all the way to Hadron Collider. I was like, oh no, please don't tell me. But it's fine. It's on. It's been on now. It's been off and on and off and on again, so it's fine. It's obviously fine. But yeah, I'm quite surprised we lasted this long, to be honest. I'm really impressed, everyone. Good job. I'm shocked that we've lasted this long. So all the stuff in my go bag starting to go off, like my ID, I'm going to replace them soon. That's how pessimistic I was. So I guess we're doing okay, really. I mean, it's obviously absolutely fine. I'm still writing books and pushing them out, and as we all know, it takes about 45 years from acceptance to publication. So I'm obviously feeling a bit optimistic, aren't I? But
yeah, that's what I was going to say before. It was one of my biggest fears when I first signed a publishing contract that something would happen before it came out. And then March 2020, 3 months after I'd signed, I don't think I'd even signed it yet. I'd just been offered, because if anyone doesn't know publishing, contracts take like months to come through. But, we'd agreed on this deal. And then the pandemic happened, and I was like, what if we all die before my book comes out? Which, yes, I'm aware that is a really selfish thing to think. But anyone who has tried to get a book published, I know you will understand.
Yeah, I've definitely thought the exact same thing. I've thought to myself, if I lived in The Walking Dead, would I still write books? And then I thought that'd be quite fun. Imagine all these writers that have discovered all these things by researching, and they all just bandy together in an apocalypse and they know everything, because they've written a book about it.
Oh,
I don't know
that's
if anyone's
cool.
seen The Lost City recently that came out with Sandra Bullock in.
No,
but she
but I
talks
want
about
to.
this. Sometimes things happen, and she says, "Oh, we've got to get in the water because these guys are tracking us." And Channing Tatum says, "Why do we have to get in the water?" And I whispered to my partner, because they can't track them if they're in the water because there's no footprints. And she says on the film, "If I did this book and I research, if you get in the water," and I was like, "Yes, there's my girl Sandra.
There you
There she
go.
knows. She knows." So yeah, we'd know all these facts. It'd be great. We'd be an amazing like survival team. We probably need a tank, like somebody who has a big machete that can like protect us. But I
Mm.
feel like we'd know a lot of things and we'd be
Yeah.
okay. Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So
I
fun
did
to
always wonder why people didn't go to libraries on The Walking Dead. You know, when they're trying to, why not? Like,
I would.
I'd go to the library because I'd want a book about what can I eat that won't
Yeah.
kill me, and you know,
Yeah.
but they're always going
Yeah.
to grocery stores or bars. It's like, get to the library.
Yeah.
Come
Or
on.
trusting people, even worse. Ugh, people. Gross.
Right, Melissa, tell us about your facts. Which one was not true?
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm actually checking because I am checking. Yes.
I know.
Okay. Just
Can't
have a quick look
remember.
at my facts. Yeah. Which one did I make up? Yes. Okay. So you were correct. It was fan fiction. I have sadly never written fan fiction, but there really is a character called Daniel Osborne, also in Coronation Street. So I thought that would be a sneaky one to put in. I really do live next door to Edwina Curry. She's actually a fairly decent neighbor because she's always on like Strictly or in Australia in the jungle, so she's like pretty much never there.
Quiet.
So actually could be worse. And yeah, 2 separate occasions. Drag queens. Once was in I went to go and see an ice hockey match when I was 5 with my dad at the Sheffield Arena, and at the other side of the arena they were also doing a Celine Dion tribute concert, all drag. And I went to the toilet in halftime, and my dad, having a 5-year-old, for some reason thought that was a great idea to let a 5-year-old in a massive arena go to the toilet on my own into the girls' toilet. And of course, I went missing and started crying. And these 2 drag queens like came over, and they were really tall and really brightly colored. So I just spotted them, and they were like, "Oh, we'll help you." And they like took me to the police and stuff. And so then when I got lost when I was 8 or 9, I was in Key West. I was in a big square and I got lost and I was panicking, and I saw this really tall, amazing drag queen. And I was like, they are the safety people. They are the people. And I went over, and I remember she said to me, like, "Honey, if your parents don't see you next to me, I'm not doing my job right." And so she was like waving around her hands, and my parents came running over, and it was great. So yeah.
Yay, drag queens.
Yay. What a moral. Immortal Jellyfish and drag queens, same podcast. Yay.
Amazing.
That's me.
Okay, and also, can you tell us where we can find you on social media if we want to hear more about your writing and your weird
My weird
obsessions in life?
Yeah, if you want to find out how to survive the end of the world, guys, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Melliver. I think Georgia was saying it. It's my last name with an M. So at Melliver is where I pretty much am on Instagram. I think my TikTok is the same, or if it's not, it's Melissa Welliver Author is pretty much the other one I use. So yeah, you can find me pretty much everywhere.
Fab. We will pop an order link for your book into our show notes. So if people want to read about the Immortal Jellyfish, they can.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Browser history deleted.